You are on India Today podcasts and you are in the sledging room. So what? We're less than 2 months away from the 2023 Cricket World Cup. No clue yet of whether Suryakumar Yadav will bat at number 6, whether Rahul is fit, whether Rishabh Pant is indeed in a race against time, or whether Jasprit Bumrah will regain some sort of fitness. Of course, he's leading India in that T20I series against Ireland in Ireland in a few days from now.
Yes.
Really. So that's where we are headed. That's how your preparation is. So why did I start off with India's preparation? Is because this is World Cup season.
Yeah.
I mean, the Indian team may not yet have woken up to it, but we have. I mean, with this coffee and we are chugging along, right? We're literally right there. October 5th is the start of the 2023 ODI World Cup. But concerns, guys, Akshay, Saurabh. Look, I'll tell you this, okay? I was looking back at some of our World Cup preparations over the last several years. 2007, of course, that disaster when we lost to Bangladesh and crashed out of the World Cup in the league stages. 2011, I remember the build-up. And you can sense that crescendo from 2009. All of India's top order batters were in great form. You had Tendulkar, you had Sehwag, you had Virat Kohli, who was just about coming up, young, prodigious talent. Then Yuvraj Singh was getting to very good form. MS Dhoni was leading from the front. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was the leading ODI batter around 2009, 2010.
Certain Rohit Sharma was also doing well.
Yeah, unfortunately couldn't make it to the World Cup squad. But what I'm saying is you had options and you had so many bowling options. Look at, I hadn't even gotten to the bowlers, bowlers by the way. You had Sehwag who could bowl, you had Tendulkar who could bowl, you had Yuvraj Singh who could do phenomenally well with the ball, Raina, Yusuf Pathan, and then you had some serious contenders with the ball. Yeah. Zahir Khan and Munaf Patel who came along. Then there was, of course, Piyush Chawla. Lot of talent. Same at 2015. You had a bad build-up to the World Cup there. You lost matches in Australia, but you knew that you had a settled lineup. You had Rahane, for instance, in the middle order. Virat Kohli by then had found his mojo after that horror tour of England. Yes. You could sense that there was a bit of, build up to that side. Of course, you lost the semi-final to Australia. A really huge defeat there. 2019. Even in 2019, there were concerns. What were the major concerns?
Number 4. I think number 4.
Exactly,
right?
That was the only concern.
That was your only concern.
Yeah.
Cut to 2023. You're talking of number 4 again. But while you talk of number 4,
number 5 is
the top 3 are not in form. Shubman Gill started off very well, but I wouldn't be too overtly concerned with Shubman Gill because he scored runs in India.
Yes.
He's not done so well in the West Indies, but of course the World Cup will be played in India, so he's had good run scoring form.
He can score runs in Ahmedabad.
Yeah, I mean, he scored runs on these pitches. That's why you need to play the World Cup. So that's fine for now. But Virat Kohli, his hundreds came against Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. I keep on reiterating that. Rohit Sharma, Test cricket okay, but one day in T20 cricket, where is he headed? Who's your number 4?
Yeah.
Is Hardik your number 5? Is he good enough to be a regular number 4 or number 5 in the ODI World Cup? Suryakumar Yadav suddenly finds himself in a very new role.
Yeah.
And by the way, who's your number 8? Number 7, I'm understandably Ravindra Jadeja. Your bowlers. Has there been as bad a build-up to a World Cup? Yeah. I mean, you guys do not remember.
So. I don't remember any of these World Cups where we had such a bad build-up. Yeah. Yes, 2007 was a horror run where we crashed out in the group stage. But if you talk about the build-up, this kind of build-up, right now you don't even know who is going to be your wicket-keeper in the World Cup. Rishabh Pant is not. I don't think he's.
KL
Rahul. Has he played any game? Is he fit enough to play a game?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Raj, you know what?
It doesn't matter.
I've read about Indian cricket history, and then, back in those days when India used to travel to
Which is
England,
a very rich history.
Yeah, India used to travel to England. The Maharajas of certain places, before independence, the Maharajas of certain places used to appoint themselves as captain.
Yes.
Randomly pick teams.
So what are you
compare this to that build-up?
So are you back to the Maharajas?
No. It looks as if the way both of you are speaking looks as if we have gone back to that era where there was no BCCI.
It doesn't even make sense.
What is your comparison? How is this the worst build-up to a World Cup? There
So
are injured
you're happy
players.
with this build up to the World
No,
Cup?
I'm not happy,
Chaotic.
but always, Raj, there should be,
So
what is that called? Criticism should be
You're in the sledging room.
fair.
You're in the sledging room. This is not a cheer person's, I do not want to be sexist, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is not for
Cheerleaders.
And
cheerleaders. Yeah.
last time,
Yeah.
if I remember, last time you started with an analogy of a shirt.
Yeah.
Today you have started
Maharaja.
with what are you up to, Akshay?
No, I'm saying
I don't
it
know.
was
I don't
built
know.
up.
I think
What do you have for breakfast? I mean, this is very
there
strong
was
coffee. Would you like some of it?
There was a statement from you which said that we have woken up, but the team management hasn't. But what do you mean by they did all the experiments in the West Indies?
Okay, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Experiments 2 months before the World Cup. Great.
Yeah.
Now you've taken me back to a recap of the last episode, so I'll tell you.
Yeah.
What experiments? Why experiment now? Those injuries again, and I said this all last week, right? Shreyas Iyer wasn't injured overnight. KL Rahul wasn't injured overnight. Rishabh Pant's accident didn't happen overnight. Jasprit Bumrah's injury hasn't happened overnight. Bumrah hasn't played for over a year.
If you guys read the right media reports, now you will know the squad, India squad,
Plugged-
Asia Cup
you
squad
want to
out.
read plugged media reports,
Yes.
planted reports to suggest that no, this is all fine. That this is a coach who's completely in control. That this is a captain who's always making sense by saying no, we want to manage workload.
Yeah.
That this is a team which is absolutely correct in not playing their top 2 batters who have been terribly out of form 2 months before the World Cup. They're not playing the very format
Yes.
for which they're going
How
to
many
compete.
months have they not played, Raj? Like for 5 months?
5
In
months
5
they
months
haven't
played
played
one ODI.
ODI.
They have played
the
one
last
ODI.
ODI was in Australia. Was
Virat
against
Kohli
Australia.
hasn't batted
Virat
for 5
Kohli hasn't
months in
batted.
ODI cricket.
Rohit Sharma batted number 7 or number 8. They did not play the remainder of the 2 ODIs against the West Indies. This is your preparation to the World Cup. This is your preparation. No high octane cricket, right? The last high octane cricket match was in June when you played the World Test Championship. If you tell me that a couple of test matches against the West Indies are good enough preparation and then you go straight to the Asia Cup and a few days later you're playing the World Cup, goodness gracious. Before the 2011 World Cup, India were competing hard, I think, in South Africa.
Yes.
That was the level of preparation for India back then. And yes, in a different country, but you're supposed to be acquainted with your own conditions. But my concern is form. You're talking of number 4. Rohit Sharma is not in form. Virat Kohli is not in form. Shubman Gill, fine. He's just, been around this big circuit over the last 1 year or so. He's been very impressive. But you don't know your number 4. You talk of depth. You talk of talent. You talk of a huge pool. Where is your number 4? Where is your number? Are you comfortable with Hardik Pandya number 5?
There is a
Seriously.
problem with number 5 also.
Yes, exactly. Are you comfortable with Hardik Pandya batting consistently at number 5 is my question.
But he himself wants to do
Are
that
he
role.
can. I would want to go
it
and
does
bat
not
at number
matter,
6 for
yeah.
India. Kya hota hai
At
usse?
Gujarat Titans, he has prepared himself for the role.
He is not playing for Gujarat Titans right now. He has to play for India.
Yeah.
It's a different setup, different coach. You're playing for World Cup. You're not playing for Indian Premier League.
Yeah. But hasn't he showed that temperament in the past? Hasn't his ODI numbers don't reflect that? But
My point,
looking at the
my
available
question
resources,
is that your couple of your players, their ODI numbers show nothing. Hardik Pandya as an ODI batter, okay, yes, he's a talented all-rounder, but how long are you going to live with the talented tag? He's 29. Suryakumar Yadav, he is himself admitting, yes, I haven't been great in ODIs. So you have players who haven't been so good in one-day cricket, suddenly, owning those spots.
but 2 months ahead of the World Cup, we have given him role clarity, Raj, now.
What role clarity? Just batting at number 6 for a couple of ODIs against some planted media report.
No,
So-
but he is himself saying, Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma have told me that be ready for the last 15 overs, which means he's going to bat at number 6 or
But
number
what has he
7.
done in the last 15 overs? Has he been used that way? You certainly can't put out a...
Two ODIs against West Indies at number 6.
And what did you do in those 2 ODIs? You score a century and a double century.
Okay,
right?
Saurabh first and then Akshay. Are you okay with this level of experimentation just weeks before the World Cup?
Definitely not. You are talking about Indian cricket team. Indian cricket team is going to host a World Cup all by itself for the first time. Right? You will expect India to be prepared, ever prepared, to face different opponents and win the World Cup. If not win the World Cup, reach the final at least. But with the kind of preparation and with the kind of experiments you are doing in 2 months, you don't even know your fine lineup. You don't know your top 4 batters. You don't know your wicketkeeper. You don't know who is going to be your pace, what is going to be your pace lineup.
Yeah.
So what are you really up to? You handed Mukesh Kumar an ODI debut 2 months before the World Cup.
But is he going to play in the World Cup?
Exactly.
He's not. The point is, why are we asking so many questions before the World Cup? For all you know, India might go on to win the World Cup. We'll be the happiest of the lot,
Yeah.
right? questions are being asked because you haven't won an ICC event in the last 10 years.
And you don't even want to win an ICC.
Look at the big teams. Australia, what have they won? They won the T20 World Cup. They won the World Test Championship.
And
what have England won? 2019 ODI World Cup, 2022 T20 World Cup. New Zealand have won a World Test Championship. So all the 2-3 big teams are there winning titles.
Yes.
Or making strong cases for titles. What are we happy with? We are happy with semi-final spots here and there. In the last Asia Cup, you didn't even make it past to the semis. You didn't. You reached the 2019 semi-finals. You did not even go past the group stages in 2021. Again in 2022, you were happy with the semi-finals.
A 10-wicket defeat.
Now, a 10-wicket defeat, resounding 10-wicket defeat. Now, here's the problem. You said India completely hosting the 2023 World Cup. They will be under pressure. 1987, India reached the semi-final. That was held in the subcontinent.
Yes.
1996, again held in the subcontinent. India reached the semi-finals. The World Cup came back to the subcontinent in 2012. They won the World Cup. Okay. Now, 2011 in the final, India won under pressure.
100% semi-final record.
100% at least.
At least.
And now look at the trend since the last 2 World Cups.
Yes.
3 World Cups. 2011, won by the hosts. 2015,
Won by the
won by the co-hosts. 2019, again won by the hosts.
Yes.
So you have yourself set a trend.
Yeah.
So you have yourself set a trend of hosts winning World Cups. You have a good record of World Cup runs at home. 1987 unfortunately lost to Australia, but it was a very good Indian team, defending world champions at that stage. 1996 was a very good Indian team, largely carried by Sachin Tendulkar, of course, some heroics from Azharuddin here, some from Jadeja. But again, what a good team that was. 2011, there was a quiet confidence, that there was a sense of assuredness that, India would win the World Cup. Everybody knew it at the back of their mind, the way they had prepped up to that tournament. But now, do you have that sense of assurance?
For instance, if Coach Rahul Dravid or Rohit Sharma goes to a press conference and sits there, and if a journalist asks him, are you confident of winning the World Cup? Will they be able to say that?
What else we hear for?
What else we hear for? I don't think so. And
he suddenly made a U-turn.
In fact,
he suddenly made a
Akshay is
U-turn.
the U-turn specialist.
No.
Why are you being so negative?
In fact, Rahul Dravid himself considered before the World Test Championship final that we don't have the pressure to win the ICC tournaments. As in, he meant it in a different way. But if you don't feel the pressure, if you don't feel the need, he was rightly criticized for that statement during the World Test Championship and after India lost the World Test Championship final. But that brings me to the question I want to ask both of you. R. Ashwin, in one of his recent YouTube videos, said that, always these overseas experts, the experts from countries like England, Australia, and even Pakistan to an extent, they say that India are perennially favourites in ICC tournaments, and put that undue pressure on Team India. So do you think we can call ourselves favourites this time?
I'll give you one answer.
Yeah.
India, world champions in 1983. Okay. In 1987, you lost to England. Sorry, not Australia. You lost to England. Chasing about 255, right? India were bowled out for 219 or thereabout. And you had some remarkable performances in that second innings as well. I just dug up the scorecard because I remember Kapil Dev picking a couple of wickets as well. Mohammad Azharuddin, a young Mohammad Azharuddin, scored 64. Kapil Dev scored 30. It was a valiant effort. Obviously, you lost team in the chase. So that was the second semi-final of the 1987 World Cup. Pressure was back on. So do you think that pressure was any less? You won the World Cup in 1983. You were defending champions, playing at home in the subcontinent. And you, of course, lost to England. Lost that semi-final to England. Cut to 1996. Again, you had a horror World Cup in 1992.
Yes.
Right? You beat Pakistan. Yes, that was a memorable, iconic game. But you reached the semi-final. Again, that was a disaster, really. Pitch problems, crowd problems at Eden Gardens. But how can you talk of there being pressure? Obviously, you have to absorb the pressure. You have to take pride in it. That you are supposed to be world beaters. You want to be proud of the fact that other teams are talking you up as favorites, and I think that's very negative talk if you think of soaking in pressure. 2011, right? I covered that World Cup. I remember these players were so determined. They had a silent resilience among them that they wanted to win the World Cup. They wouldn't talk to the press unless they were deputed to go to the press conferences. So it was mostly handled by the captain, the coach, or somebody from
How
the
is
support
the
staff.
scene around the airports, the everywhere.
No, there was a lot of praise. There will be. You ask any player, there will be players chirping, fans chirping and media asking questions. There's a lot of atmosphere. That is bound to be there. I mean, when we reached the Wankhede 2 days before the World Cup final, the press box was cramped, even for those pre-match media interactions. So you could understand that pressure is always going to be there. By the way, do you think there is no pressure for the IPL games? I'm not comparing IPL to World Cup, but yes, there is pressure. But you want to soak it in.
Exactly.
You want to soak it in. What are you doing now to really set yourself as favorites?
Is that a wrong notion? As in, then, like, shouldn't India be called favorites? As in, is that putting pressure? R. Ashwin said that these overseas experts always put pressure.
Whatever I'm a sports fan. We all are sports fan, not just cricket. Whatever we have seen in different sports, when you talk about champion teams, they love this pressure. They love being called favorites and going out in the field and proving it. Yes, they deserved this tag. They deserved it. This Indian team, it does not seem like that.
Are they scared of that tag? Is that what? Yeah.
I think the lack of ICC trophy in last 10 years, especially you lost in the final, World Test Championship final against Australia, the T20 World Cup semi-final, England routed you by 10 wickets. So after all these things, I think the Indian players are scared of this favourite tag because they themselves don't think that they are ready to face this pressure. Rahul Dravid might come and say in the press conference, no, we don't feel the pressure. It is very natural for any player to feel the pressure of winning ICC tournaments when you are playing for a country like India, where cricket is seen as a religion. Cricketers are termed as God.
I think they've already taken the first step, and it's the right step, Raj. To avoid this favourite tag, they are having this muddled preparations, this confusion, so that no one calls India favourites. No, maybe that the team management is thinking that way.
My biggest concern is
about
not
this podcast or about this episode.
No,
or the World Cup?
This podcast is it's well settled. Unlike the Indian batting lineup, and we haven't even come to the bowling lineup.
Okay, yes.
My biggest concern is with the top two, the best two or the top three. Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, they should be they should be the ones setting the tone. Over the last so many years, they haven't. You ask them and they say, no, 2020 there was a pandemic, you didn't play any cricket. No, how many teams played cricket? No, we didn't do this. And then you'll throw figures like Virat Kohli is among the highest run scorers since the 2019 World Cup among qualified teams. What has your impact been? How many hundreds have you scored? What are the kind of oppositions you have scored runs against? I remember Virat Kohli got some runs against Australia in the ODIs before returning home after that Adelaide Test match. Right? He scored some runs against England. Then I don't remember him really breaking the barriers against any good team. And my biggest fear emerged after Virat Kohli's performances against New Zealand, and I understand New Zealand and Australia earlier this year didn't get too many runs. And Rohit Sharma again found wanting. Rohit Sharma suddenly changed his approach to a pinch hitter at the top. Somebody of his caliber and his class, you'd expect him to stay and get some more runs. You don't have that experience. Yuvraj Singh said that in a recent interview somewhere. He said you don't have the experienced batters to deal with the sudden jolt, sudden setbacks. What if you lose the openers early? Who's going to get you out of trouble? Yuvraj Singh did that so successfully in 2011.
Even in the World Cup final in 2011, we lost the openers early. Chasing
275. Competitive total in those days.
Do you have a Gambhir? Do you have a young Virat Kohli who scored 37 odd runs in that final?
I'll tell you, in all fairness, again, I know I'm not trying to contradict myself, but had Shreyas Iyer been fit, had KL Rahul been fit, had Rishabh Pant been fit, you would have been less worried about that middle order. But the other disconcerting factor was the bowling combination. Back then you had 8 or 9 bowlers, including the all-rounders obviously. Now you're barely making it 6. And even then you're compromising your bowling lineup because you want to pick somebody who can bat a little better. So between Kuldeep and Chahal, who are both world-class wrist spinners, you'd probably be tempted to go with Kuldeep because he gets you that extra impetus with the bat. Akshar Patel ahead of another spinner probably because he can bat. Shardul Thakur, wicket taker, but he can be experienced in crucial junctures.
So you were so persistent, coming to this bowling unit point, right? You were so persistent about playing wrist spin in the 2019 World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah. But now you have 2 wrist spinners who are in form. See, there were concerns about Chahal's form in 2021. he didn't go to the T20 World Cup in 2021. He went to the T20 World Cup in 2022, but he didn't play. So if there is a pitch that warrants 3 spinners, would you not play your 2 wristies together, or how would you look at it?
How would you play your 2 wristies together? Because then you're suddenly compromising on your lower order, right? Now you'll say
you can't rely on the top 7.
No, do you have enough confidence? Yeah. Have you not done this in the past in both the test and as well as the one-day teams? Yeah. You don't have enough confidence in the top order. Yeah. And that's why you're bringing in these bowlers. I mean, look at the criticism after India lost the first 2 T20Is. Long tail. What do you mean long tail in a T20 match? Yeah. 7, you're batting up to number 7. You're batting up to number 7. How is that a long tail? I mean, even some of the reports that I saw, even some people talking about in the media, I was astonished. You're batting up to number 7. You have to in a 20 over innings. Yeah. 20 over innings, and you're fretting over the long tail. Yeah. And that is what the Indian team will do to compensate for the mistakes of the batters. Yes. They'll pad it up with guys who can bat. I mean, bowlers who can bat better than other bowlers instead of bowlers who are better than other bowlers.
Isn't that what happened in the World Test Championship final in the England tour?
It has been happening. Yeah. It has been happening. If you're talking about playing 2 wrist spinners, you had the chance to play 2 wrist spinners in the West Indies ODIs. What did you do? You took Chahal. He was sitting all around. He was sidelined. He was waiting for his opportunity. He did not get any game. He comes back in the T20 side. He picks up wickets. So it has always been the case. Your batters fail, but who pays? Your bowlers.
Do you have the audacity and the confidence for the top 6 to step up and say that, look, you know what? We'll take care of this.
Yeah. Yes.
For the 9 or 10 games in this World Cup, we'll win you the World Cup. Pick your best bowlers. Even if it means one left-arm spinner in Jadeja, world-class all-rounder across formats. UZ Chahal, Kuldeep Yadav. So be it. Yeah. But pick the best 6, including the wicketkeeper.
Exactly.
Can you do that?
Why would you play Aksar when you have Jadeja?
Are you playing Hardik Pandya as a bowling all-rounder or as a batting all-rounder? I mean, there is no doubting his skills as an all-rounder. What he's done for Gujarat Titans is phenomenal with the new IPL team. But
the question has to be asked.
The questions have to be asked in the ODI format.
You are so critical of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. Obviously. I don't know why you're not so critical of Hardik Pandya. You're bringing that point in. Can Hardik Pandya bowl 10 overs in the World Cup?
I don't think he can. Or I don't think he will.
Yeah.
So
he can, but will he is the question.
So shouldn't we pick Shardul Thakur?
Again, that's compromising on some bit or the other, right?
Exactly.
Shardul Thakur is your leading wicket taker in ODI since the 2019 World Cup. Yes. And there is a chance that he might not be in the level.
Kuldeep are your best bowlers since the 2019 World Cup in ODIs, right?
And there is a very good chance that Shardul might not even make the cut.
It might be a distinct possibility.
Even because of the injury concerns to KL Rahul, Shreyas Iyer.
Assuming that these guys are fit, I'll quickly rattle off my top playing 11. Okay, you guys can pitch in and tell me if you agree with it or make any changes. Rohit Gill, Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant, right? And then you have 5 bowlers. Don't go for 6. Go for the best 5. Yeah. Go for the best 5. But then let these guys take over and say that, you know what. Or Hardik Pandya instead of Shreyas Iyer. And if Hardik Pandya can chip in with 5 overs, good with that.
This lineup, considering there were no injury concerns. Right?
Yeah, because your top 6 has anyway stopped bowling. Virat Kohli could have probably been a bowler. He didn't want to bowl anymore. Rohit was a fantastic off-spinner.
Yeah. He's an IPL hat-trick. 2 IPL hat-tricks.
Chose not to. Exactly.
But that is, Raj, I've always, a lot of people said that in the 2011 World Cup team, you had a lot of batters who could bowl. Even Sachin Tendulkar, Virendra Sehwag and all that. But with the advent of T20 cricket, with the cramped schedule, how can you expect a top-class batter to also spend time with bowling?
Wait a minute. Who is Joe Root? Is he a top-class batter?
Smith bowls.
Plays how many formats?
Doesn't matter. Tendulkar, by the way.
How many formats does he play?
How many formats is Virat Kohli playing in the last 1 year?
How many
3
ODIs
formats.
has Virat Kohli
Has he played
played?
T20
No. 1 minute. Tendulkar would play every bilateral series that I could think of. Every bilateral series. He would play Test cricket. He went to county. Yeah. You had some of these big names appearing for Ranji Trophy finals, semi-finals. They would play the big games. What do you mean workload management?
Tendulkar, Ganguly, Dravid, they used to come and play Challenger Trophy. India Red, India
exactly.
Blue. Mm-hmm. So, are these players playing domestic cricket? Your Rohit Sharma, your Virat Kohli.
That's my opinion. I don't know. Because workload concerns are a real thing in the
look
in this day and age of
look.
cricket.
I'll say something that most of us in this industry shudder away from saying.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of mediocrity with this Indian team. A lot of these cricketers
White
are
ball
mediocre cricketers, white ball cricketers.
Yeah.
You know, leave aside players like Rohit, Kohli, Ashwin, Jadeja, Hardik also. He's that kind of an all-rounder, right? It's just that you've not used him enough, or he has not been used enough, or whatever it is. Maybe he has his own roadblocks. Maybe the successive captains haven't used him. But anyway, keep that aside because of the knocks that he played in South Africa, Sri Lanka. I remember those test knocks. They were brutal.
Yeah.
He bowled very well in England in 2018, in a couple of spells that really impressed us. But apart from that, there's a lot of mediocrity also. You know, everybody and anybody is a T20 cricketer nowadays. Anybody and everybody is captaining India. You have so many players rotating in this musical chair format. That's getting a little too intense. For me, okay, fine. You know, those parallel tours when you had India touring Sri Lanka and India touring England, by the way, that showed some depth. Deepak Chahar was part of that squad in Sri Lanka while India were in England. So that showed depth. But where is that depth now?
Yeah.
You have lost the... Injury management should have been better. Where is Deepak Chahar?
Yes.
Where is Deepak Chahar? He was phenomenal with the bat in South Africa in early 2022.
Where is Prasidh Krishna?
Where is Prasidh Krishna?
He's back for Ireland.
Yeah, but
what... As in, he was one of your prospects for the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Raj, Venkatesh Prasad, there were a lot of criticism around his tweets when he, you know, criticized KL Rahul. But what he has been saying about this white ball teams, that substandard white ball teams, the planning, as in white ball team in the sense, I'm not talking, as in I'm not demeaning any individuals there, but the planning around the team, the selection, the form, the injury management, all that needs to get better, right?
tell me, 2007,
Yeah.
it was always, you know, you knew that it was going to be a disappointing World Cup because of the chopping and changes. Tendulkar was batting at number 4.
Yes.
You removed the greatest opening batter in one-day cricket. I mean, the greatest batter, yes, but you know, then you could argue the greatest batter could bat anywhere. But Tendulkar redefined opening the innings in one-day cricket as a batter. He was dropped down to number 4. That build-up. 2003, by the way, you remember Rahul Dravid was asked to keep wickets so that they could accommodate an extra batter in Dinesh Mongia.
Yeah.
You still had bowlers up top. You had Tendulkar, Sehwag, Yuvraj. You had Ganguly himself who could bowl, and then you had a phenomenal bowling lineup as well. You had Zahid Khan, you had Javagal Srinath.
Ashish Nehra was playing.
Exactly.
Young Ashish Nehra.
Was Agarkar there in 2003?
I don't think
I
so.
don't remember, but I mean, I'm just trying
we
to
had
sum up.
Harbhajan Singh, Anil Kumble. So
Exactly. There was this phenomenal lineup of cricketers. You had Kev, who could be a great finisher. You had Rahul Dravid, who would steer. But also remember that, you know, that was a different era. Now it's a hard-hitting era. My other problem is how many of these batters will really take the game on. You've kept Suryakumar Yadav for the last 15 overs, whereas England will have someone like Josh Butler trying to take
open in the innings.
trying to bat like that for 40 overs.
Yes.
Right? You'll have someone from Australia suddenly stepping up and doing crazy things. You have Mitchell Marsh who can do whatever he likes. Cam Green. Steve Smith has remodeled his batting in T20 cricket. I'm sure he'll bring a lot of that in the one-day format as well. Joe Root, very aggressive. I mean, you look at Joe Root and you say, you know what? But God, he can be aggressive. And imagine Joe Root is the slowest in the top 6 for England. So how are you going to compete consistently?
Yeah. England have redevised how ODI cricket is being played. Australia are playing the game that way. Even Pakistan are playing the game that way. They're trying to.
Yeah.
What is your team doing? I mean, this is absolutely...
You'll know in the Asia Cup.
You'll know in the Asia Cup last year also we said the same thing. We knew what happened. Pakistan played Sri Lanka in the final.
No, but why?
But one thing is certain, Raj. Everybody, as in most of the teams, have their lineup almost certain because Australia announced a probable squad. New Zealand almost announced a probable
They're
squad.
waiting for Kane Williamson.
They are still waiting to accommodate Kane Williamson.
Yeah.
Pakistan reportedly will announce their Asia Cup squad sometime this week. So there are so many, certainties in the cricket world in terms of World Cup preparation. But
tell
big
me this,
uncertainty.
why are you waiting for the Asia Cup? Shouldn't you have played the best possible 11 in the 3 ODIs in the West Indies?
Yes.
Shouldn't you have, even one winning the toss, trying to bat first, shouldn't Virat and Rohit have been part of that lineup too? Why did you take them otherwise? For an extended vacation? I mean, what new answers have you found out from the bowling department? Is Mukesh going to play the World Cup? We're hoping against Bumrah's fit enough. agile enough.
Even
I mean,
if Raj, look at this, imagine the situation. Even if a KL Rahul is fit, if he is match fit, will he be able to keep for 50 overs? Can he
no, I
bat
don't
for
think he's
30
going to be a
overs
keeper.
after
By
that?
the way, I wasn't serious about KL Rahul becoming a wicket
But
keeping option.
if you don't use KL Rahul as your keeper, you will waste one more spot by playing Ishan Kishan.
That's exactly what you're going to do. That is exactly what you're going to do. You're going to place one more batter, either Sanju or Ishan, whoever it is. I mean, we don't know about KL Rahul's fitness regimen till now.
Yeah, he's not even in the Ireland squad.
Yes.
When Bumrah is playing that
should have
Ireland
been.
series, yeah, he should have been. If he's fit enough to play in Asia Cup or in the ODI World Cup, he should start playing international cricket or any form of cricket. We have seen videos of him practicing wicket keeping,
Yes.
him practicing batting at NCA. But you need to play actual competitive cricket to get into that rhythm.
Yes. Amid all these uncertainties, Raj, would it be prudent to include someone like a Tilak Verma, a left field choice, and bring him, bat him at number 4?
He could
Yes,
be now.
why
Suddenly, he scored runs in the T20 series.
Yeah.
By the way, he was denied that half century. There was
Okay,
a lot
yes.
of conversation. I mean, the moment I shot at, I was like, oh gosh, there will be some conversation on social media. But I mean, with these young cricketers, you never know. Tilak, maybe he said, I don't care.
No.
Hardik
More
would
than
have just gone.
Tilak's caring about something, give credit where it's due, Raj. Hardik Pandya must have maybe thought, we are building a new team culture where no one is caring about personal milestones, which is what
So
a former
if that was the
cricketer
case,
Akash Chopra also
if that was
hinted.
the case, why was Hardik Pandya caught on stump mic saying, "Turuk, tere ko game finish karna hai," and then he goes on to hit a 6? What was that?
No, or maybe thought process could have been, I have 3 T20 half centuries after
yes.
playing for so many years. This young kid will get his second and his third match. No, I'm just
This
kidding.
is not the
This
era
is
of-
this
yeah.
is just
Yeah.
me being light.
This is the era of Hardik Pandya. Talking about the era of Hardik Pandya, Raj, there are
I have no doubt this could be Hardik Pandya's era in the T20 format, provided he gets the right team and he gets a different coach. I
Yes,
agree with
yes,
Parthiv Patel.
I agree
when he
with
says, look, Hardik Pandya's T20 credentials, I won't doubt. There is no doubting it. In the one day format, has he been given that long rope? Has he done enough? Has
And
he
has he
been
played
into-
enough? That
Has
is
he
also
played
a
exactly?
question,
That's
right?
the point. Has he played enough?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from. For all you know, he could do really well in the ODI World Cup. He could shut all of his detractors. I'm a huge Hardik Pandya fan. T20, I have no doubt. I mean, yes, he made some poor decisions in the West Indies. Not bowling Chahal, not giving them that last over, bowling Mukesh Kumar for that extra over, when he could have probably controlled the game a little better with
But
Yuzi
frankly
Chahal.
speaking,
Not
Raj,
bowling Aksar at all.
exactly in the second T20, but he used him in the power play, learning
Yeah.
from his mistakes.
Yeah.
Used him in the power play in the third
You know,
T20
what-
and completed the quota of all 3 spinners in the third T20.
You know what I feel? I agree with you. India need a new coach in T20Is. With Hardik Pandya's success for Gujarat Titans, you have to agree that Ashish Nehra plays a major role. He's always there with his inputs, his takes,
Even around
his
the boundary
tactics.
ropes,
Rahul Dravid is
But
not
you can't
your
do that
T20.
in international cricket, right? I mean,
But still,
The
Rahul
ICC
Dravid
will
is not your
penalize you.
T20I coach. He has not done a lot good in the ODIs and tests also.
Yeah.
But he's not your T20I coach. So you need someone who is proactive.
No, but also let's be fair to the man. Dravid is a legend. I mean,
See,
I want to kind of balance it out for the Dravid criticism, okay? Because yes, you can talk about his success as coach, but you also need your players to go out there and perform. I mean, if somebody is playing a horrendous shot in the WTC final and that person is regarded to be the greatest batsman of this era, there is little Dravid can do, right? You're not going to teach Virat Kohli not to play those horrible shots at those crunch moments, which could infuriate Sunil Gavaskar like that.
But
you're not going to tell your captain not to bowl Yuzi Chahal in a crucial juncture. That was a poor tactical call, right? But I mean, I have been a little frustrated with what I've seen of Dravid the coach. Sometimes I know there are analogies and comparisons of Dravid the captain as well. How people have spoken of 2007 and somebody I remember saying on social media, look, he could do the same thing to 2023. So, I mean, I think that's a little too harsh. So give the man his run. He'll complete 2 years by October end, I think, November. So, yes, I mean, Ravi Shastri was fantastic as coach in Test cricket.
Yes.
Right? He didn't win the ODI World Cup. He didn't win he didn't win the T20 World Cup. He didn't win the World Test Championship final. But he was, I mean, Ravi Shastri, again,
But
gave
at
that team
least
a whole new character.
we reached all Asia Cup finals. Yeah.
You could end up
Raj,
winning
what do
this
you want? Do you want a change of coach in T20 cricket? As in, it seems from
you
what
know,
you have said.
in the T20 format, I know everybody's been talking about the ODI format because of the approaching World Cup. Don't forget the T20 World Cup is also less than a year from now.
Yes.
You tried to remodel your side after what happened last year in Australia, but how have you exactly remodeled it? You haven't told us whether Rohit will continue in the format. Has Virat stepped away from the T20
Even
international format?
during that
KL
trophy
Rahul.
tour in the US,
Exactly. He said he's
Rohit
looking
Sharma
for,
mentioned that this is all part of workload management, and we'll see what happens after the World Cup. ODI
so
World
you
Cup.
don't know whether your three anchors are going to be back next year in the West Indies and USA. Also, have you discovered any new cricketers? Yes, Tilak Verma, is showing promise. Suryakumar
And you're
Yadav.
giving an extended run to Arshdeep, someone like Arshdeep,
Exactly.
which is good.
So, and what happens to your batting character? Will you see the same old batting lineup again next year? I mean, they could be. Suddenly, they might come back for a last
Rohit
hurrah and say,
Sharma,
"Let's do it again."
KL Rahul.
Shubman Gill
One
has
last
struggled.
chance.
Shubman Gill is a mystery. He's done so well for Gujarat Titans in the IPL,
In Ahmedabad.
and he's struggled.
Yes.
He has struggled for India in this T20 international format. Yashasvi Jaiswal played just that one game, not a great start. But now, who is your top 2 or 3 there? Suryakumar Yadav obviously makes up number 3. You could have someone like Tilak Verma. You're looking at someone like Sanju Samson. You haven't given Rahul Tripathi a long enough run. And after this, you're not playing any more T20 cricket, are you? You're playing Asia Cup.
After
You're
the
playing
World
3
Cup,
ODIs against Australia, then the World Cup, and then some more T20Is. And suddenly, by the time...
And then we'll get into the IPL.
Yes, and then suddenly it'll be time for the T20 World Cup. So... those are also things we should be talking about. You have 2 World Cups, back-to-back World Cups. Are you really prepared? You saw what happened in those back-to-back T20 World Cups. 2021, couldn't get past the group stage. 2022, you just, you were outplayed, convincingly outplayed
in the same finals.
by the eventual champions. So, yes, I would want a change of coach, to cut a long story short.
Yes.
Or will you give him another shot at the 2024 T20 World Cup?
That depends on how he does in this 2023 ODI World Cup.
Exactly. A lot of things will depend on that.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Ashish Nehra. Just a
Who?
long shot.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Why
If you're
not?
picking your T20 teams based on IPL performances, I think that's great. I've been saying that
why
for the
not?
longest
Yes.
time. They did it. Ajit Agarkar selection committee did that.
Yeah.
The IPL is the best T20 league in the world. You want to pick players and coaches based on that performance. Why not?
Stephen Fleming then.
Or Ashish Nehra.
Will CSK let
I
go
think
of
I think
Ashish?
Hardik Pandya and Ashish Nehra. That
Yeah,
would be-
that is a golden duo.
bring that combination on. But on that note, I think we're almost out of time. But quickly before we go, less than 2 months to go, even for India's first match, right? Early predictions.
India versus Australia.
Yeah, early predictions of where you think India will end up after the group stages.
See,
See?
India are going to top the table and win the World Cup after one masterstroke from Rahul Dravid. He'll drop another finest opening batter of this era to number 4. Solve that issue. Rohit Sharma, open with Ishan and Gill. Done.
Okay, he's not being serious. What about you? Where are your
You know what?
prospects?
As a fan, I'm afraid. Because again, I don't want to see this team losing and going out in semi-finals. Although I doubt that we will even reach semi-finals with this squad.
On a serious note, I'll be pleasantly surprised if you're in the top 4 reaching the semi-finals.
Yeah.
In this current setup, I hope you have some sort of course correction. I hope Rohit and Virat get back to some kind of form, and I hope either of Shreyas or Rahul returns to that middle order. You need one of these guys to really show some sense of solidity and comprehensiveness to that lineup. But on that note, we'll leave it here. But if you want to reach out to us, our listeners and our viewers, you can always email us on pods@indiatoday.com and ping us on 8588 966 996. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you can of course rate the Sledging Room and leave your comments. Tell us how confused you are about this entire build-up, because we promise you that this is going to be a build-up, a crescendo to the 2023 Cricket World Cup, which is, like I said, less than 2 months away, just a few weeks away, really. So that is that. That's for this week. We'll be back with a lot more next week, hopefully with some happier news of India winning the T20I series in the West Indies, and of course that build-up to Ireland, which is going to be crucial, especially for Jasprit Bumrah, the man who's going to be captaining India on his return to international cricket. Thank you so much. Have a cracking week ahead. We'll catch you up next Wednesday. Thank you.